Have you ever felt lonely? I mean, it's a feeling almost all of us know, that quiet, kind of hollow ache for connection. But what if I told you that this feeling isn't just, a bad mood? What if it's one of the biggest, most misunderstood threats to our physical health? Okay, let's get into the incredible science behind why feeling connected isn't some luxury. It's a biological imperative. Just let that one sink in for a second. Yeah, you heard that right. Massive studies have found that chronic loneliness is as damaging to your long-term health as smoking about a pack of cigarettes a day. It's actually a bigger risk factor than obesity or not getting enough exercise. And this isn't hyperbole, it's a stark scientific fact. So that's the big question, isn't it? How on earth does an internal, subjective feeling, something happening in your mind, end up causing such massive physical damage? Well, the answer is buried deep in our evolutionary code and our most basic biology. First things first, let's be super clear on what we're talking about. Loneliness isn't about how many friends you have on your contact list or how many people you see during the day. It's completely subjective. It's all about that internal feeling, that gap between the meaningful connection you crave and what you feel you actually have. And this is such a critical distinction. Social isolation, well, that's an objective state. It's a fact. You have few social contacts. You can literally count them. But loneliness, that's a feeling. That's why you can be in a room packed with people and feel utterly, profoundly lonely. Or you could live a very quiet, solitary life and feel deeply connected and content. The danger we're talking about here comes from the feeling, not the number of people around you. So why do we even have this feeling? You might think it's some kind of modern flaw, a bug in our system. But it's not. It turns out loneliness is a feature, not a bug. It's an ancient, hardwired survival signal that evolved for one reason, to keep us alive. Think about it. For our ancient ancestors, being kicked out of the tribe was basically a death sentence. You wouldn't last long alone. Survival was a team sport. So evolution gave us this incredibly powerful alarm system. Just like hunger screams, you need to find food, and physical pain yells, pull your hand away from that fire, loneliness evolved to scream, find your people, reconnect now. It's a deeply unpleasant feeling for a very good reason. It's meant to jolt us back to the safety of the group. Now here's where it gets really fascinating. How did the brain create this alarm? Well, it didn't invent a whole new system. It was efficient. It piggybacked. The system for social connection seems to have literally latched on to the brain's pre-existing network for physical pain. It borrowed the ouch signal to let us know when our social bonds are breaking. And we can actually see this in brain scans. These key areas, like the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex and the anterior insula, the parts of your brain that process how distressing physical pain is, they light up in the exact same way, whether you've just broken your arm or you're experiencing social rejection. To your brain, a broken heart can feel just like a broken bone. So that ancient alarm system is amazing for short-term survival. But what happens in our modern world, where loneliness can become chronic? What happens when that alarm gets stuck in the on position? Well, that's when things get really dangerous. It creates a paradox. When that feeling of being on the outside doesn't go away, your brain doesn't just chill out, it doubles down. It shifts into this long-term, high-alert, self-preservation mode. It fundamentally believes you're in a hostile environment, and you need to be on guard 24/7. And here is the cruel twist, the paradox. On one hand, you desperately, consciously want to connect with people. But on the other hand, your brain, trying to protect you, becomes hypervigilant for any potential social threat. It starts scanning every face for a hint of rejection, interpreting neutral comments as negative ones. And this can make you more defensive, more withdrawn, and unintentionally push away the very connection you're starving for. Now, this constant state of high alert doesn't just stay in your head. Oh no, it triggers a massive cascade of changes throughout your entire body, right down to the level of your DNA and which genes are being turned on and off. This response actually has a name. It's called the Conserved Transcriptional Response to Adversity, or CTRA for short. It's a very specific genetic program that gets switched on during chronic stress. Essentially, when your brain thinks you're under long-term threat, like from chronic loneliness, it tells your immune system to prepare for the dangers our ancestors faced, getting wounded in a fight and getting bacterial infections. So here's how the chain reaction works. Your brain perceives the social threat. That kicks your fight or flight system into gear. Stress signals flood your body and hit your immune cells. Those cells then change which genes they're reading from the DNA playbook. And the result? Two big things. One,
genes that promote inflammation get cranked way up, preparing to heal wounds. And 2, genes that are responsible for fighting off viruses get turned way down. Your body is literally betting you're more likely to get mauled by a predator than to catch the flu.
And over the long haul, this state of chronic, low-grade inflammation is just devastating for the body. It's a known driver of almost every major chronic disease. Studies directly link this state to a 29% increased risk of heart disease, a 32% increased risk of stroke, and, get this, more than doubling the risk of developing dementia. The physical consequences are absolutely real, and they are severe. Okay, so we've looked at the problem, how this ancient survival instinct can go haywire and become toxic. But the really hopeful part is that the science also points us directly toward the solution. It helps us understand what kind of connection actually turns that blaring alarm off. You know, in our digital world, it is so easy to mistake interaction for true connection. Watching a streamer, scrolling through a social feed, it can give you a little mood boost, sure, but it's missing what our biology desperately needs, and that's something called biobehavioral synchrony. It's that real-time back-and-forth dance of a face-to-face conversation, where our heart rates, our hormones like oxytocin, even our brainwaves literally start to sync up with the other person. That is the stuff that signals safety to our ancient brain. So the key takeaway here is that the antidote isn't just about being less isolated. It's about cultivating a genuine psychological sense of belonging. The opposite of feeling alone isn't just being with people. It's feeling like you're part of a we. It's all about finding and building a shared social identity. So how do we actually do that? Well, the research points to some really practical steps. First, kind of map out your identity. What groups are you already a part of? Where do you want to feel more connected? Second, go find your we. Join a group that's built around something you enjoy. A book club, a hiking group, a volunteer team. Shared purpose is a superglue for social identity. Third, practice being a better friend by actively and enthusiastically responding when people share good news with you. And finally, whenever you can, prioritize that real face-to-face time. That's where the biological magic happens. At the end of the day, our biology tells us a very clear story. We are wired for connection. It's not a weakness to need other people. It is our single greatest evolutionary strength. That whole space between being born and dying, its value is found in trust and in love and in our ability to truly reach one another. So the question is, what does building your we look like for you?